Hi, Taehyung Lovers. Welcome back again to Taehyung Lovers channel all around the world. But this time, never skip the first few seconds of this video, because what happened at Stanford Stadium, California, has just made international media, army, and even non-K-pop fans suddenly unable to believe BTS power in 2026. This was not just a concert. This was the biggest emotional explosion that turned the global internet into chaos in just one night. And at the center of all that madness, once again, was one name: Kim Taehyung. Imagine tens of thousands of armies screaming hysterically until the sound of the stadium almost disappeared. Then suddenly the camera captured Taehyung standing still with a gray hoodie and a red microphone in his hand. No excessive movement, not many words. But that exact second was what made the entire stadium explode. International fans even called it the craziest silent domination moment in BTS tour history. And wait until you see how the chemistry between Taehyung and Jungkook made Stanford feel like the classic BTS era had come back to life again. Many ARMY cried, many got chills. Some even said that night felt like the biggest emotional reunion between BTS and ARMY after years apart. In this video, we will talk about the viral Kim Taehyung moment that made fan cams explode all over the world, the actions of Jungkook and Kim Taehyung that made the stadium lose control, the iconic blood, sweat, and tears hip thrust that once again shook the internet. All the way to the simple moment when Taehyung tied his shoelaces that somehow made millions of fans emotional. And believe it or not, there was one tiny detail at the end of the concert that is now becoming a huge theory among ARMY worldwide. So before we enter the craziest moments of the second night of BTS World Tour ARIRANG, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell right now. And don't forget to help this video go viral so the world can always see the kindness and extraordinary aura of Kim Taehyung, who once again proved why his name can never be replaced in the hearts of ARMY around the world. Wait, was this really a BTS concert or the biggest emotional explosion of 2026? That sentence suddenly flooded social media only minutes after the second night of BTS World Tour ARIRANG at Stanford Stadium began. Not because of the stage effects, not because of the stadium lighting that transformed into a giant purple ocean, but because of one figure who once again made thousands of people forget how to breathe for a few seconds: Kim Taehyung. That night, Stanford did not feel like an ordinary city. The air was filled with screams, tears, and songs from tens of thousands of ARMY who had packed the stadium since the afternoon. The lights from the ARMY bombs formed a giant purple galaxy, moving endlessly with the rhythm of the music. But when the intro of Blood, Sweat, and Tears started playing, the atmosphere instantly transformed into something far wilder. The crowd screams exploded uncontrollably. Many fans even admitted they could no longer hear their own voices because the stadium suddenly felt like it was collapsing under mass hysteria. Then the Fancam camera captured one moment now called by international fans as the silent domination moment. Kim Taehyung stood calmly in the middle of the stage wearing an oversized gray hoodie and holding a red microphone in his hand. No dramatic movements, no exaggerated expressions. But that calmness was exactly what made the atmosphere inside the stadium feel even more unreal. His gaze was sharp. The way he slowly walked under the dim lights created an aura that suddenly silenced thousands of people before they screamed hysterically again. And that is the power of Kim Taehyung that global media have talked about for years. He does not need an excessive stage to dominate attention. One single glance is enough to make every audience camera point directly at him. Many ARMY said that moment felt like watching a superstar who is way too calm for a stage as massive as Stanford. The gray hoodie with sparkling heart details on the chest looked simple, but instantly became a viral visual symbol across multiple platforms that night. His black hair naturally fell across part of his forehead, creating a silhouette that made short fan cams spread worldwide within minutes. The red microphone in his hand became a strong contrast against the purple domination of the stadium. That visual combination made many fans call Stanford's second night one of Taehyung's most iconic performances throughout the ARIRANG era. But the concert was not only filled with visual moments. The emotional atmosphere that night felt much deeper. The presence of RM, Kim Seejin, Min Yoongi, jhope, and Park Jimin made the stadium feel like a giant family reunion. They kept running from one side of the stage to the other, joking with each other, greeting ARMY and laughing freely in front of tens of thousands of people. There was no sense of formality, no cold distance between artists and fans. What people saw were seven friends truly enjoying the night with those who had accompanied their journey for years. And that was exactly what made so many viewers emotional. In the middle of a global entertainment industry filled with perfect concepts and flawless images, BTS that night felt incredibly real. They laughed when a movement became slightly messy. They looked at each other while holding back laughter when the music stopped for a few seconds. Even chaotic moments on stage somehow became the most precious parts of the concert. Then came the moment that truly made the internet explode. When Jungkook joined Kim Taehyung in the center of the stage, the energy inside the stadium completely changed. The atmosphere that had been emotional instantly transformed into an uncontrollable adrenaline explosion. The two performed their signature movements with body support poses that immediately triggered endless screams throughout the stadium. Jungkook appeared to perform acrobatic movements with his body lifted into the air while Taehyung stood firmly underneath him. The combination looked like the perfect mix of professional choreography and the spontaneous freedom of two best friends enjoying the stage without limits. ARMY at Stanford completely lost control during that second. Social media instantly flooded with emotional comments from fans who felt as if they returned to the classic BTS era. Many said the chemistry between Kim Taehyung and Jungkook that night felt like a time machine bringing them back to the early days when the group dominated the global music world, not just performing perfectly, but freely playing on stage with wild energy that could never be faked. And what made the moment even stronger was their own laughter. Even when the music stopped for a few seconds, Taehyung and Jungkook were still laughing together while moving to their own imaginary rhythm. Stanford Stadium that night became a giant nostalgia chamber where BTS and ARMY seemed to forget how far time had passed. In one moment, now viral across multiple platforms, Taehyung and Jungkook were seen standing face-to-face wearing matching gray hoodies. Jungkook smiled widely while Taehyung faced away from the camera with the ARIRANG tour city list clearly visible on the back of his jacket. It may have looked simple to outsiders, but for ARMY, that image felt like a symbol of friendship that had survived industry pressure, time, and global expectations. And the night was not over yet. When the song Dope started playing, the stadium's energy multiplied once again. Taehyung looked unstoppable from the very first intro. His movements were sharp yet relaxed, as if his body still automatically remembered every detail of BTS's old choreography. The audience exploded again when the Blood, Sweat, and Tears section played, and Taehyung spontaneously performed the iconic hip thrust that once shook the entire K-pop world. The stadium instantly erupted. The scream sounded like a soundquake shaking Stanford itself. Many fans admitted they got chills because it felt like watching a living piece of BTS history returning right before their eyes, as if time had stopped, as if that legendary era had never truly disappeared. But in the middle of all those spectacular moments, there was one tiny scene that became the most talked about of all. A Fancam captured Kim Taehyung casually sitting down and tying his shoelaces in the middle of the stage while Jungkook continued moving energetically beside him. Other members laughed while adjusting their sparkling costumes under the stadium lights. The moment was incredibly simple, unplanned, even messy, but that was exactly where the emotion came from. BTS that night did not look like superstars trying to protect a perfect image. They looked like seven friends genuinely happy to be together again. And maybe that is a reason why the second night of BTS World Tour ARIRANG at Stanford became a global phenomenon. Not only because of the massive concert production, not only because Kim Taehyung visuals went viral across the world, but because for a few hours, tens of thousands of people inside that stadium felt like they were witnessing something real friendship, nostalgia, freedom, and the love between BTS and ARMY that remains alive no matter how much the world changes. Now one question continues flooding fan comments worldwide. If the second night alone was already this insane, how massive will BTS's next explosion be? And that is why the second night of BTS World Tour ARIRANG at Stanford is now called by many fans one of the most emotional nights in BTS history. It was not just about a massive concert, not just about Kim Taehyung's viral visuals, but about how these seven friends once again made the world feel alive through laughter, music, and simple moments on stage. And honestly, If the second night alone already made the internet explode like this, many ARMY are now afraid to imagine how huge BTS' next surprise will be. Write your opinions in the comments right now. Which moment gave you the biggest chills? Taehyung with his silent domination moment, the chemistry between Taehyung and Jungkook, or the iconic blood, sweat, and tears hip thrust that once again shook Stanford Stadium? Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you enjoy content like this. But if you don't like it, feel free to skip it because Taehyung Lovers channel never forces anyone. And don't forget to help this video go viral so the world can always see the kindness, aura, and extraordinary power of Kim Taehyung, who continues to make the world unable to look away from him. Keep following the hottest, most emotional, and most viral updates about Kim Taehyung and BTS only on Taehyung Lovers Worldwide. Because believe it or not, after Stanford tonight, ARMY are convinced that something even bigger is still being prepared by BTS behind the ARIRANG 2026 era. I will take my leave now. Thank you, stay safe, and see you again in the next huge news update only on Taehyung Lovers.